First contact protocol said panic. She grabbed a medkit instead. Every model the Concord holds for first contact predicts one of three responses: flight, aggression, or paralysis. All three assume fear. None of them predicted a woman crossing 9 minutes of open field towards something she had no name for, carrying bandages. This file is still open, not because the record is incomplete. We have it, minute by minute, in the Scout's own words. It's open because we have never been able to explain why she stayed. Access granted. Dossier, Terra, File 001. Compiled contact +0, the day itself. This isn't the report the Concord leads with when they brief new members on humanity. That one's longer, more cautious, full of qualifiers. This is the one nobody can fully explain, which is why I like it best. Filed by Scout Kess Renn. Species, Vantori. Rank, Scout, First Class. This is her account, in her own words, pulled directly from the log. My ship went down 11 minutes after entering the planet's upper atmosphere, not because anyone fired on us. A sensor fault I still haven't fully explained in the incident report. A small, stupid failure, the kind you train for and never expect to actually happen to you. I came down hard in open farmland. Cracked ribs, a fractured leg, and a laceration across my forearm that had gone through the suit seal, which meant, as far as my own training was concerned, that I was now contaminating an unclassified biosphere with substances neither side had cleared for contact. Protocol was unambiguous. Signal for extraction. Avoid all contact with local fauna, sapient or otherwise, until Concord containment arrived. Containment was 4 hours out, minimum. I did not expect to see anyone before then. Scans had shown low population density in the impact radius. I was wrong about that too. This is a running theme in the file, you'll notice. She found me 9 minutes later. Human female, mid-30s by the estimate I logged at the time. Later identified in follow-up reports as Dana Whitlock, civilian occupation, medic, attached to no military or governmental body I could identify. A private citizen. She had been walking a property line when she saw the smoke. I want to be precise about what happened next, because precision is the entire point of this file. She did not run. Every Concord first contact model, and I had reviewed all of them extensively in preparation for exactly this kind of survey mission, predicts one of three responses from an unadvanced, unprepared sapient encountering a clearly non-native, clearly injured being of unknown biology. Flight, aggression, or prolonged paralysis pending authority intervention. Dana Whitlock did none of these. She knelt down, said something I didn't have a translation matrix for yet, and opened a case that turned out to contain basic trauma supplies, bandages, a tourniquet, water. She had no idea what species I was. She had no idea if my blood, if that's even the correct term for what I bleed, was toxic to her on contact. She had no authority telling her this was safe or sanctioned, or her responsibility in any sense the Concord recognizes as binding. There was no treaty, no chain of command, no precedent. I asked her, once my suit's translator caught up enough to render a rough approximation, why she was doing this. I remember the delay before she answered. Not hesitation, I think now, just her deciding how to say something that to her apparently required no justification at all. She said, "You're hurt. That's the whole reason." I logged that line exactly as spoken, because I didn't trust myself to paraphrase it accurately, and because I suspected, correctly, as it turned out, that it would end up quoted in every subsequent briefing on this species for the next several years. There's a detail I left out of the first draft of this report, and was later instructed to put back in. Once the translator was working well enough for full sentences, I explained to her what was coming. I was required to. Concord containment doesn't arrive quietly. Quarantine fields, biological isolation, a retrieval team with no instructions concerning her at all, because no protocol anticipated her being there. I told her the honest version, that I could not guarantee how she would be treated, that her own authorities had no idea any of this was happening, and that the safest thing she could do, by every measure I knew how to calculate, was to be somewhere else when they landed. She listened to all of it. She checked the tourniquet again, and then she asked whether 4 hours was long enough that I'd want something to eat. I want to be clear about what that moment did to me professionally. I had just given a native sapient a complete, truthful account of the risk she was under, and her response was to inventory her supplies. I logged it as anomalous behaviour, subtype, unknown. There is no other subtype that fits. There still isn't. She stayed with me for the better part of 3 hours, until Concord containment finally arrived and did what containment does: quarantine protocols, memory consideration procedures, the full apparatus we use when a species makes unauthorized contact with something it isn't ready for. Standard practice. I want to be clear, I don't fault my own people for it. It's the same protocol I'd have recommended before that afternoon. But I want to note, for the record, and for anyone reading this file after me, nothing in her species' technological classification, nothing in their political fragmentation, nothing in the threat assessments I'd studied before the mission predicted what she did. She had every rational reason to leave me there. She had no reason, by any model we use, to stay. When the retrieval team asked her, through a translator I helped calibrate in the field, whether she understood what I was, whether she understood the significance of what had just happened, that she'd made first verified contact with a non-terrestrial sapient species, she said she understood it fine. She just didn't think it changed anything about the first part. I include that exchange because it's the part Command flagged for review and the part I've been asked, more than once, to reconsider or recontextualize in the official write-up. I haven't changed it. It happened exactly like that. Scout Renn's full incident report runs to 40 more pages, decontamination logs, translator calibration data, the usual bureaucratic scaffolding that accumulates around anything the Concord doesn't fully know how to file. I've read all 40. There is nothing in them that explains the 3 hours. What's in them is the record of 7 separate officers trying to get that exchange struck from the account, reworded or reclassified, and Renn refusing every time. That's the part I keep coming back to. Not what Dana Whitlock did. What it cost a decorated scout to insist on the record that it happened exactly the way it happened. We opened this file to understand a species. It has stayed open because of what it keeps telling us about ourselves. File closed. Filed under. Unresolved.